My husband Jacob 36 cheated on me 30 for F with his coworker, and the way I found out shattered everything I believed about us. Jacob and I met in college. He was the quiet, clever guy who always sat in the back row making dry jokes under his breath. I was the outgoing one who forced him to come to parties and study groups. He used to look at me like I was the only person in the room. I never forgot that. We got married 8 years ago, after 5 years of dating. Our life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. We had a small house just outside Seattle, 2 lazy cats, and a rhythm that felt comfortable. Morning coffee together, grocery runs on Sundays, falling asleep to reruns of old sitcoms. I thought that was love, quiet, steady, and safe. When he got promoted last year to project manager at his marketing firm, I was thrilled for him. It came with a pay raise, but also long hours and business dinners. He started working closely with a new hire. Her name was Hannah. I'd heard about her early on. He described her as super sharp, funny, and ambitious. I didn't think much of it. I'd met her once at his office party, friendly, talkative, younger than me by a few years. Things started shifting slowly. Jacob became more distant. He started showering right after work. His phone, which used to sit on the kitchen counter, suddenly followed him everywhere. One evening I picked it up when it buzzed, thinking it might be his mom, and he snapped at me, saying, "Don't go through my stuff, Em." That was so unlike him that I just froze. Excuses piled up. Working late, client dinner, traffic. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. I even brought it up gently once, over dinner. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're being paranoid. You know I'd never do that to you." I wanted to believe him. God, I needed to. But one Friday night, everything changed. He told me he had a late meeting with a potential client at a downtown bar. I didn't think much of it until I ran into one of his coworkers, Mia, while picking up takeout. She smiled and said, "Oh, are you meeting up with them too?" My stomach dropped. "Who?" I asked. She frowned. "Jacob and Hannah. They said they were grabbing drinks tonight." That was it. The world tilted. I drove downtown, heart pounding so hard I could hear it. When I pulled up near the bar, I saw them through the big front window. They were sitting in a booth, his hand resting on hers, both of them laughing the kind of laugh that used to belong to us. Then I saw him brush a strand of hair from her face. The look in his eyes wasn't professional. It was tender, familiar. I didn't go in. I sat in my car until my hands stopped shaking enough to drive home. When he came in that night around midnight, smelling faintly of her perfume, he said, "Sorry, dinner ran long." I looked at him and said quietly, "I saw you." He froze. Then his face crumpled. "Emily, please." The confession poured out in fragments. He'd been confused. It just happened. They'd been working late together, sharing dinners, venting about stress, and one night, they did it in the bedroom of her apartment. And then it happened again, and again. For almost 6 months, I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, listening to him talk like he was describing someone else's life. The man I loved, my husband, my best friend, had been living a double life. When I told him to pack a bag and leave, he cried. I didn't. I just stared at the wall while he gathered his things. The next few weeks were hell. He texted constantly, called, begged. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I love you, not her. Then Hannah messaged me. She actually messaged me saying she never wanted to hurt me and that they didn't plan it. I didn't reply. What could I even say? I filed for divorce 2 months later. For a while I was a ghost in my own life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Everywhere I looked, I saw traces of him: the dent in his pillow, his favorite mug, the half-finished novel on the nightstand. My friends dragged me out of the house when I wanted to disappear. My therapist told me to write letters I'd never send. My mom stayed with me for 2 weeks just to make sure I got out of bed. About 3 months in, I hit my lowest point. I ran into Jacob at the grocery store. He looked terrible, unshaven, thinner. He tried to talk to me, but I walked past him. I sat in my car afterward and sobbed for the first time in weeks. Healing wasn't linear. Some days I felt strong, others I'd scroll through old photos and feel like my chest was caving in. But slowly, I started to rebuild. I redecorated the house, changed the locks, got a new bed. I took a solo trip to Oregon, hiked alone for the first time in my life, and realized I could actually enjoy my own company. I learned that betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it rewires it. You start doubting your own judgment, your memories, your worth. But the truth is, his cheating said nothing about me. It spoke volumes about him. It's been almost a year now. The divorce is final. I'm not ready to date yet, and that's okay. I've started writing again, journaling, short stories, little things that make me feel like me again. Every now and then, Jacob sends an email. I'm sorry. I miss you. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I never respond. He made his choice again and again, and now I'm finally making mine.